All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a simple, powerful belief about yourself that pretty much guides your entire life. Seriously, it weaves its way into everything you do, and as you're about to see, it might just be the one thing that's holding you back from your true potential. So, let me start by asking you a question. Think about the last time you hit a wall. Maybe you bombed a presentation, didn't get a job you wanted, or just got some really tough feedback. What was your gut reaction? How did you feel in that moment? Just hold that thought for a second. Okay, now look at this. This comes from some fascinating research by psychologist Carol Dweck. She gave students a scenario. You get a C plus on a midterm. The responses she got were polar opposites. Look at response A. It's all about feeling like a failure, wanting to quit, or even cheat. It's a total shutdown. But then you have response B. It's all action. It's okay, I need to work harder, I'll talk to the teacher. The C plus isn't a final judgment, it's a signal to do something different. And here's the kicker. These two very different reactions, they're not just random personality traits. They are the direct result of one single fundamental belief you hold about yourself. You can think of it like an operating system that's always running in the background, telling you how to interpret every single thing that happens to you. So that brings us to our first big idea here. And it's a little counterintuitive. It's what we'll call the trap of being smart. And it uncovers the hidden danger of believing your abilities are just fixed. So here it is. This is the fixed mindset. It's the core belief that your intelligence, your talents, your basic personality, they're just cards you were dealt at birth. They're carved in stone. You've got what you've got, and that's the end of the story. Well, if you believe your traits are fixed, then every single situation becomes a test, right? Every project, every conversation, every challenge is suddenly a measure of how good your hand is. This creates this constant nagging pressure to prove that you are, in fact, smart or talented. Looking bad is simply not an option. Oh man, this Calvin and Hobbes comic just nails the logic of the fixed mindset. Calvin's whole inspiration evaporates because Susie is working hard. You see his last thought? Huh, I used to think you were smart. To him, effort is a bad thing. It's a sign that you lack natural ability. Because if you were a true genius, it would just come easily. And this all spirals into what you could call the fixed mindset trap. You start avoiding challenges because, hey, why risk looking dumb if you might fail? Then, when things get tough, you give up easily because you see obstacles as proof that you just don't have it. Before you know it, useful feedback feels like a personal attack, and someone else's success feels like a threat to you. It's a mindset that literally slams the door on your own growth. But what if there's another way? What if failure wasn't a verdict, but a stepping stone? This brings us to the other side of the coin, the belief that can transform everything. And this is it, the growth mindset. It's the idea that your real potential is something that's totally unknown, that your brain and your talent, they aren't the whole story, they're just the starting line. It's the belief that your abilities can be grown, cultivated, and developed through sheer dedication and hard work. You gotta love this quote. So, in another study, Dweck gave kids some really difficult puzzles they were designed to fail at. And one of the kids, instead of getting frustrated, just lit up and said this. He wasn't there to prove he was smart. He was there to get smarter. Failure wasn't a judgment. It was just interesting information. I mean, that's the growth mindset right there. And that really gets to the core of the difference. The fixed mindset leaves you with this constant hunger for approval, for validation. But the growth mindset, it creates a genuine passion for learning. You stop caring about looking perfect and start getting a thrill from stretching yourself, from tackling things that are actually hard. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But let's take a look at how these two mindsets actually play out in the real world, with real people, when the stakes are incredibly high. This is just a perfect contrast. On one side, you have John McEnroe. The guy was a natural, an incredible talent, but he believed that talent was everything. He hated practicing, and when things got tough, he would often just collapse. On the other side, you have the ultimate growth mindset athlete, Michael Jordan. Famously cut from his high school team, he used that failure to fuel an absolutely legendary work ethic. His whole career was about practice, about getting better, about teamwork, not just coasting on his natural gifts. I mean, this is the attitude that literally changes the world. Can you imagine if Thomas Edison had a fixed mindset? He would have given up after, what, 5 tries? 100? But with a growth mindset, all those failures weren't failures at all. They were just data. They were learning. Each one was another step on the path to finally getting it right. And history is just filled with these stories. I mean, look at this list. Some of the greatest minds in history, like Darwin and Tolstoy, were considered totally ordinary as kids. Greats like Ben Hogan were clumsy. And get this, some of our most famous inventions came from total accidents. Post-it notes exist because a scientist made a bad glue that wasn't sticky enough. Penicillin was discovered because an experiment got contaminated. It just goes to show you can almost never judge potential at the starting line. Okay, so this is probably the most important part of our whole conversation. Knowing the difference between these two mindsets is step one. But the real game changer is learning how to actively choose that growth path for yourself, day in and day out. And here's a really simple, powerful way to start. It's a 3-step process. Step one, just start paying attention. Listen for that inner critic, that fixed mindset voice that whispers, "What if you fail? You'll look like an idiot." Step two, and this is crucial, recognize that hearing that voice doesn't mean you have to obey it. You have a choice. And then step three, consciously talk back to it. Answer its fear with a growth mindset voice. Something like, "Hey, this is a challenge, but I can learn from it." Or, "This is a great chance to get better." And let's be realistic here. The goal isn't to become some kind of perfect growth mindset robot who never feels the sting of failure. That's not going to happen. We all have both of these mindsets inside of us. The real skill, the real journey, is getting better at recognizing when that fixed mindset voice pipes up and then consciously choosing to follow the growth path instead. It's a practice, not a perfect destination.
So, that brings us right back to the beginning. The core belief of the growth mindset is that a person's true potential is, and always will be, unknowable. It's impossible to predict what any of us can accomplish with years and years of passion and hard work and training. So the only question that's really left is, what are you going to do to discover yours?